system triggers. Just for other triggers, it's confirmed whether they require the lock screen or not. Lock screen and resource model. Generally, people ask what's with the lock screen? Why do we need lock screen? I want to make my application, I want to run my application in the background, I want to give some result and then come back. Why do I need lock screen? So I'm going to try to answer this question here. So basically, there are two reasons why lock screens are required. So the first is that, let's say there's a user who's using a mail application, and mail application syncs up and update the mail in the background. So there can be a user who receives 1 or 2 mails every day, and there can be a user who is using hundreds and 200s, who's receiving hundreds and 200s of emails every day. So the point here is, resource usage for an application which is running the email background task is not in the control, is totally in the control of user, and is not predictable. There may be days in which there is a spike of the emails that a user is receiving, and there can be days in which there are not much emails which are coming up. So the thing is, the battery, let's say, and like this, there are hundreds of applications which are using the background tasks. So what happens is, to predict or to forcefully give control to the user as to how many applications can run background task at one point of time, lock screens applications are given. So that at max, so that user knows which application is running in the background. So that user knows that if something goes wrong, he knows which are the applications which are running in the background, and he can terminate them or change them or use them according to how he wants it. But at least user should know where he can find the tasks, or where he can find the applications which run in the background. Of course, there's task manager available for this, but not all users are aware of that. So this is the first reason. Now another reason is, if you have the applications on the lock screens and which execute the background task, we can have a upper bound to the resources, that max resources, or upper bound to the max number of background tasks that can run at one particular time. So if there are 6 or to 7 lock screens available, we know that at max only 7 applications can run their background task. So this is another reason. This is another reason we have lock screen application, to put an upper bound on the background tasks. Time to look at the architecture of the background task now. So what happens is, basically, how you need a app builder class. You need a builder class to run the background application. And you need to have you need to register your background tasks. You need to have a trigger. You need to have a class name. You need to have entry point, conditions, and triggers. So basically, we have a background tasks run as our DLL. Our DLL takes all this information and register this information with the background task infrastructure, which is the lowest in the architecture, the gray tab. This background task infrastructure maintains a database with the app name, their entry point, and the trigger. So what happens is, if let's say, and these triggers are basically a part of the services which are mentioned in between. There are system event services, time trigger services, Windows push notification service, control channel service, location service, device service. All these services basically execute what the trigger wants to execute. So what happens, for example, the control channel service contains, here's the socket, and as soon as the package, let's say there's a VoIP application and there's a socket which is connected to a server, and the packet approaches the socket. I'm taking the old example again for more clarity. What happens is, if there's a packet coming to the socket, the control channel service listens to it and then alarms the trigger or fires the trigger. The background task infrastructure, when it knows, okay, this is the trigger, it maps in the database that which class needs to be activated corresponding to this own trigger. and this is how it then executes the class and the background task is executed. So this is a very high level diagram. This is a very high level explanation of the background task architecture. But there are other components here. But I think it's okay if we don't go into we don't go there, because whatever I have explained is enough for developers. So this is the basically background task architecture, where background task infrastructure maintains or maintains a database with the trigger name, the class name, and the app name. And then triggers, the system services are there for executing the background task infrastructure maps the trigger with the class, and the class executes the background task. I hope this is making sense.